crap, what is it now? Like now I can't remember.
What up, Paul?
Yo,
My camera's frozen. And Rob's
yo,
gone.
Rob's here.
Where's Rob?
I have Rob.
Oh, hi, Rob. Oh, don't hear Rob. Once again, everybody, the show has been plagued with audio issues since 7 p.m. when we were supposed to start.
Chad, it's showing
Um,
you're hidden.
what up?
It's showing you're hidden.
I'm hidden?
Yeah. Look, your camera's froze.
Yeah, my
And
camera's froze. That's why.
there's a delay. You'll see you in a second. Probably. Probably, maybe.
Piece of dog shit. Words cannot express the amount of hate that I am starting to have for technology and the amount of quit that I am starting to have in my body for how fucked up this shit is all the time.
Hold on, let me turn my volume up. Paul. Yeah,
What the fuck is this?
there's no sound on Facebook unless I had something connected that I shouldn't, which is also possible. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, my camera's not working all of a sudden. I'm I know you guys can hear me. I'm at a loss for words for how stupid this shit is being.
Yeah, I can hear you on Facebook now. We can't see Rob, and we can't hear chat.
Yep.
It's a good time.
Yep. All right, I think I'm ending this stream.
I can see you on Streamlabs. I can't see you on Facebook.
He should be on Facebook now. He should be on Facebook now.
Yeah, I am now.
Now you're gone.
No, on Facebook, I just popped up.
No, Chad's gone.
Yeah, I've been gone.
Oh, you were there. Well, you were frozen, but there.
Well, we can hear you just fine. The frozen picture of you looks good.
Oh, I guess it's me and Rob. Chad can chime in.
Yeah.
I don't know. We still get that echo going on. Chad wasn't even going to come on tonight because of the echo. He said, "Screw it, dude. Let's just go on."
Brian?
I say something and I hear myself say it like 3 minutes later.
Yep, can't figure it out. Nothing is working.
We're on Facebook.
Oh, I know why. There we go. Fix my problem.
It's just a picture of me frozen.
With like a death stare.
With a death stare.
Chad death stare.
Enjoy the frozen death stare picture of me.
What we're going to talk about tonight, man?
I pay way too much money for software to have all these problems.
Dude, I seen I didn't have a lot of time to chime in today because of just work. But seen there was a lot of talking about rods and reels today on the group chat.
So we got into a little discussion on like value of rods and reels, and we thought we'd talk about that a little bit tonight.
I chimed in a little bit because man, say what you want. I like the Lew's Mach 2 reels and the Dobyns Fury rods. I figure you want a budget set. What are you talking? $240 or something on combo that way. I don't like.
I think we all agree that the best value out there is a Dobyns Fury.
Yeah, Dobyns Fury by far. Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it. I mean, it used to be like pretty competitive with some of the lower end St. Croix, but they've raised their prices on like the Mojo series. Like you used to have like the Mojo series and the Dobyns Fury that were right together in price, and now the Mojo is like 189 or 179, something like that.
So Gary Dobyns sold Dobyns recently.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that worries me about Dobbins.
That's what I was
Um,
about to say. Yeah.
because we've seen it in the past with other companies selling out that the quality ends up going down. So I'm curious to see, how the business goes forward.
Right. I'm buying as many Furies as I can. Why you can still get them is what I'm thinking.
The Furies are definitely my favorite. Uh, I can't. I do have a scene two up here that I can go to the old Tackle Warehouse page here. What are the Furies right now? What are they? 150?
120, 120, I think.
129, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 129 to 140. 140 if you're going to go up to one of the bigger casting rods, like a swim bait rod, something of that nature. Um,
Headwater Jim said that Ham brought.
Quality.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Let's hope so.
I
That'd
hope
be
so.
great. That'd be great. Uh,
They said that about Wiggleworts too.
Rapala Wigglewort. Pre
How you doing,
Rapala
Steve?
Wigglewort. Storm Wigglewort.
hey Steven, how you doing, man?
So, what we also got into. So, there are some good value brand rods and reels that are out there, and we all have our different opinions on them. I love St. Croix rods because of the no questions asked warranty. Um, if I shut it in a car door, I can pay $75 and I get a new rod. Um, Especially now that their lower end has went up some. It doesn't really make any sense to buy the Mojo anymore when for $20 more you can get a Victory that has a 15-year warranty. So that's like my bottom level now, which is insane because my bottom level rod is going to like $200.
Yeah. So I used to buy the I know Brian Dyson did as well. Used to buy the Lose Mach 2 combos, and I liked the reel, but I didn't like the rods. And the rods were always breaking and giving me trouble. And they had a pretty good warranty, but I just didn't like the rods that much. But what I'm using now, the Fury rod with the Mach 2 reels, they match up nice. I bought a bunch of Black Maxes. You probably remember that. You warned me not to do it, and I did. And man,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I got about 6 of them for sale if anybody wants one. Uh-oh, don't unplug my
First,
headset. Oh, no, it
$5 for all six of them.
didn't. Yeah, 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 I might take that deal.
Um, so I mean, like I said, like I've kind of went to like Victory as my lower end rod, but for like the person just getting started, that might not be really budget friendly. I mean, if
Right.
you got to buy, if you want to buy 4 or 5 rods, shelling out $1,000 might not be in the equation. So as far as like a lower price point rod, I would, I mean, I can't really say anything but the Dobbins Fury.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, the St. Price range, they're pretty decent rods too.
Mhm.
Um, not a lot of there's not a lot of manufacturers that make something in that price point. There is the Shimano SLX rod and Daiwa made one. I can't remember the model, but they're in that $100 price range. They're actually pretty decent rods.
Yeah, that's it. If you're talking budget, you gotta think like younger people, kids and stuff like that. They don't have, they don't want to $300-400 for a rod. It's kind of even to ask their parents. It's like, are you serious? He could give you $500 to buy a fishing rod. You know what I mean? So if you're just getting into it, I would
Punky said
think,
he's been running Kistler lately.
well,
Kistler's good. They make good rods.
I'm not familiar with them.
It's a USA made company, but they don't really have. They're not budget friendly, and that's what we're
Jason,
trying to keep it.
you see Jason? What's up, Jason? He said he has a couple Bass Pro rods at $45 each.
Yeah, he's rocking those 20 specials. I had one of those for about 5 casts one time, and it broke. I never bought one again. I went out and bought a St. Croix.
The Johnny Morris Carbon Light 2.0 ride, they held up great, says Headwaters Jim.
Guess who's back?
Who's
Guess
back?
who's
Light
back?
rods
Guess
are
who's
Guess
back?
who's
better
back?
than
Guess who's
Guess
back?
who's back?
Guess who's
Guess
back?
who's back?
Guess who's
Guess
Oh,
back?
who's
Chad's
back?
back.
Guess who's
Guess
back?
who's back?
I wonder why you're still posting
Facebook
on my
chat,
screen here. I see him
but
on
I can't see
Facebook.
you. I can't see you on stream.
I can't see you on Streamlabs either, but I see you on Facebook.
I hate
Streamlabs
I
is
hate
still
this.
frozen. But you're good on Facebook.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
perfect.
Yeah. I got Facebook
So
over there and Streamlabs over there.
I know Chad is a big fan of the Dobbins Fury as well.
Big fan.
Big
It,
fan.
it really is a great value rod. Like if you, it doesn't have the greatest components. Um, the guides suck. Well, we all know that the guides aren't great on them, but everything is pretty bad at that price point.
You know,
As far as like your guides.
I got my light off right now, but
Yeah,
I believe
Yeah,
I have
gotta
it.
agree.
That is the
That
worst.
is the worst. The Dobbins
Fury,
Fury, the worst part of the
Dobbins
Dobbins Fury.
The
The
guides,
guides,
the
the
eyelets,
eyelets,
the
the
plastic
plastic
pieces in the eyes
I
I
found
found
will pop out.
They
They
bend
bend
kind
kind
of
of
easily.
easily.
To be
To be
completely
completely
honest with you, and to be honest with y'all, and to be honest with Dobbins rods, I'm also not very polite to my rods. I don't take care of them.
Off on rods.
I step on them, I throw them on the deck, I throw them down. If the freaking guides get wrapped up with each other, I just freaking pull on them. I just, of course I am. How come I'm the one acting super bad all of a sudden? Y'all continue.
It's gotta have something to do with that system, I'll get.
Man,
So
you should have won StreamYard.
with the with the Fury, like
Never
Chad
mind, I
said,
fixed it. It was the video capture device.
Are we good now?
Yeah, I'm back.
Any more echo, guys?
Should be better for
We
me.
got a lot of comments coming up. Let's see.
Yeah, the Dobbins Fury, the
Brian.
eyelets, the plastic pieces pop out. They bend. I also am mean to my rods. I throw them down, step on them. I'm not real gentle with them. So I'm not really. I can't. I could be more careful and make them last longer. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, in the heat of the moment, when you're doing what you're doing, you got to get it done. So you throw the rod down and you pick up the next rod. I'm not worried about where it lands.
Somebody mentioned the Abu Garcia Veritas, and that was the old Veritas was a really good rod. I know I had a friend of mine who uses religiously, and I've used his rods before, and they're great. And they're inexpensive rods. Abu Garcia does make some pretty decent rods. I think I have one here somewhere.
So Brian Dyson was saying the same thing that I was saying, that he had the Mach 2 combos and he broke the rods really quickly, but still likes the reels. And he says he matches it up with the rod you like, Paul, the St. Croix, the Mojo.
So this is an Abu Garcia Vendetta. This is actually Candace's rod. Notice there's a frog I'm spinning around. Dumbass. But
It's a girl, man. Give her a break. You just
it's
called his
actually
wife a dumbass.
for a
Hey, he didn't say that.
Oh, I thought that's what he said. He said, "Who's got a frog on a spinner rod, dumbass?" So I heard.
No,
Okay,
that
good,
would be,
good.
dude, bro. You would
So-
literally watch Candace walk in on that screen and tear his arms off his body.
for real. So that Vendetta rod, she really likes that. It was an $80 rod. It's for a 7-foot medium heavy spinning rod. It's pretty light. So I mean, there are good values that you can find under that $100 range as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially if you're like just getting into bass fishing. You're not even like fishing tournaments. If you're a younger, like you're a kid fishing from the bank, like you don't need to break the bank on.
The main reason that I brought up tonight's point or tonight's conversation, and I really apologize to everybody for the technical difficulties that we've been having tonight. I'm was really looking forward to this conversation. I still am really looking forward to this conversation. But this was one of the starting points that kind of hit me when I was getting into bass fishing. It was kind of like, okay, like I like fishing. I want to do this, but what do I buy? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, like I want to throw a spinnerbait and I want to throw a jig and I want to do this, but what rods do I need that suit these baits? You know, at first when I started fishing, it was just, okay, just buy a rod, any old rod, and go out and fish. Whatever line comes on, it'll work, yada, yada. And it just, that's how you get started. But where the point of breaking over the top of the mountain, where you start to put buying Walmart combos to the side and going, okay, I need to make something that is more purpose towards what I'm trying to do. How do I understand what rod I need and what reel will do what I need it to do?
Well,
And
Fury
at a budget price that works, because when you get into bass fishing, the first thing you're going to do is not go buy freaking Metanium DC for $500. It just doesn't work that way.
no. The Furies are they're labeled. You know, the labeled flipping stick, they're labeled spinner bait,
Hey, Debbie.
buzz bait.
Yeah, I would say that for somebody who's just starting out, finding a rod series, some of these rod series that are labeled for techniques really help. It's not like, okay, so I have a jig and worm rod that is a great spinnerbait rod. So it's not always 100% what is labeled, but it kind of gives you that idea of what what you need to buy. If you look at like the actions, if you look at like a spinnerbait rod and you see, oh well, this is a medium seven. It's a 7'1", medium heavy, moderate fast action. So you can kind of see, okay, well maybe I should be throwing my spinnerbaits on this. But once you kind of see that, then you have to do like a little bit of research, because now you need to know why. Why am I throwing a moderate fast action
Right.
on a chatterbait or a spinnerbait?
You
And-
definitely got to
and-
research too. Just what line are you going to throw? What gear ratio do you?
Well,
want
and that was what my first kind of part of this too, that I kind of wanted to explain to people as you get into this. When you're getting into fishing and you get into rods and reels, you must understand the different actions and the different powers of rod. And that was one of the most confusing things for me, to be honest with you. It was, I really, dude, I could not figure out for the life of me what that shit meant.
You should have called me, dude. I would have told you to get all pistol grips.
Zenko 33.
It was that.
So it was just like, I resorted to tactical bass, and thank God for the Bass Fishing Messiah and Tim Allen.
Tim Little.
Tim
Matt
Allen, Tim Little, not Tim Allen, Tim Little.
Allen, that's Buzz Lightyear. Matt
For
Allen and
producing
Tim
that
Little.
stuff like that. They helped me understand what the different actions of rods done from extra fast, medium, and slow action. And I've never even seen a slow action rod, to be honest with you. That might be more of a trout fishing thing.
Yeah, you'll get those in for steelhead. It's like a moderate slow, and
Right.
it's for catching big fish on very light line.
But
is what.
But to understand where we're coming from here, you need to understand when you get into a rod, no matter what it is, beginner or expert, you need to understand what the action is that you're looking for when you go there, and for what bait. Now, this takes us kind of down a deep rabbit hole. We're not going to get super into that. But the whole point of this is what's good, what's a good product for a beginner, and what do those things mean? Paul, would you be willing to walk us quickly through just what those actions mean?
Sure.
Real quick before you do, Paul. Our buddy Matt Herron's on. Gotta say what's up to Matt. What's up, Matt? Thanks
Matt,
for
what's
watching.
going on, brother?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, man.
Go ahead, Paul. I didn't mean to cut you off this one.
And good luck with whatever you got going on the Elite Series, man. We're always rooting for you, brother.
So you have two parts of, or three parts of a rod, right? You have a you have a length, uh, you have a power, and you have an action. So the length is obviously how long the rod is, and you need to look at length because depending on what you're trying to do, the length is going to make a big difference. If you're trying to throw a if you're bombing trying to bomb a spinnerbait, make really long casts, you want a longer rod. If you're trying to make more accurate casts, shorter rod. So you might, if you're trying to make real accurate casts like around laydowns or around the dock, you might want to go with like a 610. Um, if you're winging a chatterbait on a grass flat where you got to make a really long cast, you might want to go with 7.3 or 7.6 because you're going to get extra casting distance off of a longer rod.
Makes a big difference.
Then you have to look at power. And your power is like your medium heavy, heavy, extra heavy. And that's basically how stiff the rod is.
In the backbone of the rod.
Overall, but it's how stiff the rod is. It's how heavy the rod is. That's why it's called heavy or medium heavy, right? So when you go up in power, you're going up in your weight of lures. It's a heavier power, so it's stiffer. It can handle larger lures. So that's kind of your power. So medium is going to be for your medium and medium light for your lighter lures, all the way up to extra heavy for like your swim baits and everything in between. You have to match the power to the type of bait you're throwing or the size of bait you're throwing.
And sometimes the cover you're throwing it in, like when you're flipping. If you're
Right.
punching, yeah. So
Yeah,
And
for
that
sure.
makes a big difference in a rod. But from
So
the way that I kind of picked it up in my time was you have like your backbone kind of a rod, and this is just kind of basic, but you kind of have it'll bend all the way down here almost to the handle at like a slow action. Like and then
yes,
you have a
I'm getting
medium
ready to go
action will
into it.
bend halfway down the bone. A fast action will bend up here closer to the tip, and then your extra fast action, only the tip itself will kind of bend in layman's terms.
Right. We hadn't got into that
Yeah.
yet. But thanks for doing it. I had a process there, man.
I thought we hit that with
No, we were
the
talking about power.
stiffnesses.
We were talking about power.
You were talking about power.
I was talking about power. No, I hadn't got into the action.
Action.
The action's the third part of that.
I
It all works
apologize. I went too far.
it was
It's
power
okay.
hour.
And it all works together. So Chad mentioned the action, and he's spot on. A slow action, it bends pretty much through the entire rod. A moderate action, it bends most of the way through the rod. A fast action bends out more toward the tip, and an extra fast is all tip. And those actions will do various things as well. That's a little more detailed than what a beginner needs to get into. I would say, since we're talking beginners, so that's kind of your basis on like what they all do. You can do 90% of your fishing with a 7 foot medium heavy fast action rod.
Yep.
I mean, it's not you can't obviously you can't drop shot and do spinning rod techniques. You can throw a shaky head on it. You can throw a Texas rig on it. You can throw a jig on it.
You can throw a
as long as you're
weightless
not fishing
Texas
super
rig on
heavy
it.
cover. You can throw a weightless Senko on it.
Yeah.
You can throw a spinnerbait on it. You can throw a chatterbait on it. I mean, there's so many things. You can frog with it if you throw a braid on it.
I do often actually frog in open water with a medium heavy fast action.
I use a medium heavy when I'm target casting a frog. So if I'm fishing a frog around like laydowns and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I use a 7.1 medium heavy because I can cast it more accurately.
I throw my frogs on a flipping stick. A 7.6 heavy.
I use a 7.3 heavy for frogging most of the time.
I'm using a 7.3 heavy with an extra fast action.
Nah, I go straight with the
For the
Dobbin Fury
frogs.
flipping stick for frogs and for jigs. It's only 2.76 is I have. Most of my other rods are 7.3s. And I'm not a tall guy, but I like a long rod.
But
Well-
to reel us back into what we were talking about here, it's beginner rod and reel setups, and we wanted to give you guys just a little bit of a breakdown on what rods do and the purpose of different rods, because I think one of the number one questions that I get is
Absolutely.
why do you have 30 different rods? And it's because they're different purposed rods that people don't understand that.
Yes. So once you move, and that's more like once you move.
I
from,
think
like,
you
that
could
to
slay me with a Walmart rod, pal. Easy.
Snoopy rod, baby.
I was reading that
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah, Paul went to the Snoopy rod level, and that hurts a little bit, but yeah.
So you can once you get past that beginner phase, like I'm gonna start. If I'm setting up a beginner, you really, we're fishing grass. Around here, I'm gonna set a beginner up with like 3 rods.
Frog.
A 7-foot medium spinning rod, which will handle any spinning rod application around here.
Yep.
You can, drop shot, shaky head, Senkos, wacky rig, all of it.
That's a bit, I mean, no. That's a big rod,
What?
Jim.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought
Seven
it was
eleven,
7
heavy bass. That's a big rod. Hold on.
It's a big rod, Jim. Jim has a very large rod.
Straight D Thomas. D Thomas was using when he invented flipping. It was like something like a 10-foot rod or some crap, dude.
I mean, I got a 711 crankbait rod here.
I got it.
Oh, it's hard to fit them inside.
It is. It's hitting my ceiling right now.
The 8-foot
I
swim
can't
bait
stand
rod.
up straight up.
The
I have to
8-foot
lean
swim
over.
bait rods literally poke out like 4 feet into the middle of the room.
So
Up to seven.
back to what I was saying, a beginner.
Heavy
If you're at
acting,
the beginner
like you
stage, 3 types of rods: 7-foot medium heavy bait caster, 7-foot medium spinning rod, and around here, I would suggest a 7.3 or 7.6 heavy frog rod.
100%. I would have
Yeah, and
to.
that
I have to
frog rod,
110% agree with that.
Yep.
And you can do more. You can do more with that frog rod than just throw. I mean,
What's up,
you can
Dan?
You can throw spooks on it. You can do a little bit of flipping with it.
Yeah.
So it is a little multi-purpose. But I think the best thing to look at as a beginner is multi-purpose rods.
Mm-hmm.
Rods that you can do a lot of different techniques with.
Like a 7.3, 7.1, 7.3.
7.1 medium heavy, 7-foot medium heavy. You can do
It's
just
all
about
purpose.
anything with those.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
spinner baits, chatter baits, jigs, Texas rigs.
Put some braid on
some-
there. You can throw a frog in the grass with it.
You can.
I
You
just
can do a
the
little
thick
length
stuff is
flipping
not
with
fun.
it.
That's the only problem. Trying to pull them out of that thick grass.
Well, I use a flipping stick, but I'm just saying, as a beginner, I mean, if you buy a rod that size, you might want to step it up after a while after you try to muscle a couple of them out of there with that rod. But with some braid on there, you could still do it.
For sure, you can.
Mm.
But I would have that heavy rod just for some more heavy cover, because we do have a lot of heavy grass around here. You can frog with it. You can flip grass with it.
Yeah.
And you could. I would say get a couple of 7.1 medium heavies. If you're gonna have 5 rods, I'd run one 7-foot medium spinning rod, 3 7-foot medium heavies, and a 7.3 or 7.6 heavy.
There you go.
Um,
You got the basics covered there.
You can cover everything but crankbait fishing with that.
Yeah.
Crankbait fishing, you can do that, but it's a little hard. Crankbait fishing gets a little trickier.
Deep
You really
diving
need to
cranking,
salt-
but shallow water cranking.
You really need a softer rod with treble hook baits. You'll lose a lot of fish with a stiffer rod, but you can get away with it. But I would definitely recommend a dedicated crankbait rod. I mean, you could definitely if you're getting 5 rods, cut it down to 2 7-foot medium heavies and throw a crankbait rod in there.
Yeah.
And just because we're trying to explain to like beginners,
Mhm.
why do you need a separate rod for crankbaits? Crankbaits, treble hooks, you can pull the hooks very easily. So a softer rod will help you put more fish in the boat.
More
So
bend
you're
in the
looking more about
rod, more
Exactly.
give,
Moderate
allows the rod to work with the fish more as its head is shaking, such and
Once you
such, to not
once you
throw
go
the
down the
hooks.
crankbait rabbit hole, you may never climb back out.
It also helps you. It also helps you hook the fish, because you don't yank. You don't yank those treble hooks out of the fish's mouth. You get a little bit of delay when the rod's loading up.
Yep.
So I would say that a good start out, like if you wanted to start tournament fishing, a beginner to tournament fishing.
That's different.
Jim says top water and cranks, medium, moderate, heavy. Nah, I throw my top waters on a medium medium heavy fast action.
I throw my top waters on medium, heavy, mod fast.
I don't have an issue losing fish on top water. I mean that's spooks, poppers.
I've never really have either, just for the generalization of throwing poppers and walking baits with treble hooks. I just went with something that had a little bit
Yeah,
less
no, I
stiff
don't disagree
backbone
with
to
it.
it.
I'm also from the school of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep, hear you.
So that's just what I've always thrown my. I also throw it on 6.6 medium heavy fast action.
Right. They
Was
say
my
a shorter rod because I use a 7 foot for my top water, but they say a shorter one's better. And I'm thinking about it, like if you're walking like a spook or a vixen or something, they say the shorter rod makes it a little easier.
So
I
it
don't
depends on
know.
your plate.
I don't have a short rod like that,
I
but
think
I'm
it's so you're
thinking
not
about.
slapping the water so much.
Right, right,
You can get
exactly.
if you're that's actually a good point, Rob. Your height makes a difference. If you're a little bit taller, you can get away with a little bit longer rod. Um, if you're shorter, you might have to go down to I throw a 6.6 medium heavy when I'm throwing like a pop bar, and I do that because I'm generally trying to make very accurate casts with it. I'm throwing around, if I'm throwing around laydowns or I'm throwing little holes in the grass, whatever it might be, um, and it's easier to work. I don't have to worry about slapping the rod on the water. Um, and I'm 5'10", so I'm pretty average height. If somebody is taller like Chad, could probably get away with 7 foot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because I think that my clout water rod that I use now is like a 7-1, and it's a little too because I'm saying I'm 5'10" as well, so it's a little big for trying. Like sometimes it gets hard to walk the baits because my rod tip is hitting the water and stuff. So just wanted to throw that out there. Like a shorter rod can be good for top water, especially if
So
you're vertically challenged.
now that we've kind of talked about the rods and the different powers and the different actions a little bit. I know we started out. We talked about the Dobbins Fury, how that's a really really great price point rod to start. And that's 100 now. I think we started from like $50 to $100 range. That's $120 rod. I think the other things they have out there, like Dick's Sporting Good. Now this is like beginner in my opinion. And really, if you don't want to spend the money on this, I probably wouldn't get into bass fishing. But if you don't want to spend it on like a Abu Garcia Vengeance with like a Black Max or something, you know what I mean? And that's like bottom of the barrel
I think I have one here.
in my opinion. I'm not saying they don't work. I'm just saying to get started, to get a feeling on how to throw a beginner's bait caster, a Black Max goes for $60 to $80. A Vengeance probably goes for $50, something of that nature. And that's kind of what I got started on myself. To be honest, it wasn't a Vengeance; it was a Black Max with a Fury, I do believe. But the Black Max is what got me started. That's an $80 reel. It's from Abu Garcia. Um,
I would say
Rob's got one in his hand, and man,
for
they work. I caught a lot of fish on them. I actually fished one for several years before it burned up, and
they're not the easiest to learn how to cast on though.
no, they're not the easiest to learn how to cast because your brakes and all that good stuff isn't top of the line. But
I would say my value pick for a reel, Shimano SLX.
That's $150 reel, isn't it?
$100.
The SLXs.
Yep.
Nice.
The one I was talking about, the ones I like, the Lose Mach 2, I think it's about the same price point, 120 bucks.
Yeah, I haven't actually thrown the Shimano SLX. I have thrown an SLX DC though, and it was literally the same as a Corrado DC, no different.
Yeah, their SLX reels are pretty nice. I'm not a big
Hey
Shimano
Larry,
fan.
thank you.
They are. I have a friend of mine who swears by them, and he said, he thinks they're great. I've used his a couple of times. They cast really nice. Uh, I think a beginner could learn how to cast a little bit easier than like on a Black Max.
Yeah.
I think Tony just. Did you guys see that?
Tony got second on Tuesday night or tonight.
Yeah, nice.
Tony fished a tournament tonight?
You just sent
Yeah.
the
Oh,
text,
yeah.
dude, holding the fish.
So I would say like that would be my pick. It's $100 reel. It's inexpensive. You can get into your combo for under $200. If you go with a a lower end rod, like you can get the SLX rod with the SLX reel. It's $200.
Jim, I have used Cast King. I got mixed feelings about it. They lasted. They work. I have to see which ones I had, but they worked pretty good at first, but they didn't hold up very well.
Yeah, they're garbage.
Mm, yeah.
Hot
I
garbage.
think
Just
I
like
think if
those
I was
fucking
going to go that cheap, then I would go Black Max.
I would say like so one of the things that I mentioned earlier today when we were talking was the one thing that I don't skimp on is reels. And a good reel, well, it might be expensive if you're paying $200 for a reel. It's also going to last you a lot longer than a $100 reel is.
Yes.
So it's just the quality of the parts and the quality of how it's made. I fished Iowa's, the Tatsuya SVTW 103 is my favorite reel. I know that's Martin Payne's favorite reel too.
How much are they, Paul?
210, I believe they are now.
210.
They'll last you a long time, and they will make learning how to use a bait caster a lot easier because the braking is better, the spool is better, it's easier to cast. Daiwa actually has zero adjust spool temperature, so you only have to adjust the spool once. Where with a lot of bait casters, you have to constantly, depending on the bait you're throwing, change that spool tension.
I see the CT as their cheap reel at 150.
Yeah, the Fuego's that's the cheapest tattoo. The Fuego's a little less.
150 is not too bad.
No, but it's
For a good
definitely
reel.
going to that mid-range combo, in my opinion, at 150.
And that's what I'm saying though. Like what I was saying earlier. You don't skimp on your reel. One, if you pay a little more for it, it's gonna last you longer. So you're gonna get your money's worth out of it because you're gonna go through $200 reels before you go through that $200 reel.
He talked to a guy that brought
I
like
just-
5
dude,
Black Maxes.
I'm telling
not
you
using any of them.
right now, like I kind of disagree with that, and it bites. I'm biting my own tongue, kind of saying this because I've bought some expensive reels. I've bought like $250 reels that
Better jump.
I literally had to send to get fixed after the first season, and I've thrown $120 reels that I still haven't put in the shop to this day, and they just keep on keeping on. So it's so different sometimes with what you have going on, and I swear some of the older shit is just made so much different. Like some of them older Shimano Chronarchs, like you can't beat like something like that compared to the newer stuff.
Dude, I like the Mach 2s, man. The Lose Mach 2. Brian Dyson said Lose BB1. I don't know BB1.
Dude, the Abu Garcia Revo SX has been one of the biggest workhorses I have ever used.
So here's a perfect example, Chad, of what you were saying. This is a $250 reel um, that lasted a couple years before I burnt the gears out of it.
Yeah.
I
Damn.
mean, you can hear you can. I don't know if you can hear that,
I got a bunch of broken reels.
but I mean, it grinds.
Here, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can hear this.
Yes, that's what mine sounds like.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a wasted Corrado 200 after 3 or 4 years.
Mm.
But most of your like your $100 and less reels, they're they're 1 to 2 seasons. When you get into
Are
like,
you having
your
problems with Metanium DCs, Jim? Or are you just tearing them apart from the daily use?
he is tearing them apart apparently.
Dude, I gotta take a bathroom break. I'll be
Steve-
You
right
can
back.
ask a good question. He said
No
when
problem, Rob.
using it-
Stephen White says, when choosing a reel, do you take into account using braid versus mono versus fluoro? What is your preference? No,
The only thing
I mean, they will spool a different amount of fluoro to braid because the diameter is different, but it doesn't make a choice for me in my brand or whatnot that I choose for that.
the only thing that makes a choice is line capacity.
Yes, which would be
That's
going
the
from
only
a 100 to like a 200 or a 300
Yeah.
size is what gives you a bigger spool.
Or well, some have deeper spools, some have wider spools. So you can look at that, but for the most part, no, not really. I mean, I use a Petcool Elite for frogging. It's not really. You could slap fluorocarbon on it and use for a chatterbait if you wanted to. I don't use a lot of braid, so I use braid on 2 rods, and they're both for frogging. So.
After we had an interview with Mr. David Fritz, I started throwing a little bit more braid.
I just don't. I don't like the feedback that I get from braid.
The sensitivity?
It's the feedback in the rod.
Okay.
Not necessarily the sensitivity, but you can feel the braid, like you can feel the braid coming through the guides.
Yes.
That annoys me.
Okay.
And again, I'm a if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of person. So
I like to try new things and see if you can actually feel the difference. And you know what? It's kind of funny and it's super cool in my opinion because remember how
Scorpion DCs. Now we talking high dollar.
that's a swim bait guy through and through, brother. If I know swim bait guys, that's a swim bait guy. You know what I mean?
I'm just not a fan. I'm not a huge fan of Shimano. I bought a Shimano reel this year because to get into a tournament, it was a Shimano sponsored tournament, so that's what I needed to do. And I figured, well, I need a new reel anyway. I'll buy a Corrado MGL, which everybody talked great about.
It's a decent
It
reel.
doesn't hold a candle to a Daiwa.
I'm a big Shimano fan myself. I own a majority of Shimano reels. And that being said, I also do feel the need to maintenance each one of my reels every year that is a Shimano. And I've had problems with them after a year. But I own 3 Daiwa reels compared to 12 other Shimano reels, 15 Shimano reels or some shit. So it's like, obviously I'm going to have more problems with the Shimanos. I have more of them. But I've never had any issues with any of my Daiwas, ever.
I'm telling you, the biggest thing that I love about Daiwa is
I throw
zero
swim baits with my
adjustment.
200 all day long too. You know how much I throw them
Oh, yeah.
swim baits with that, and I've never had a problem with my Daiwa Tatula 200. It's been one of my best reels.
You can't. Just the ease of use for Daiwas, that zero adjust spool that's on the Tetulas, and the Zillion and the Steez, their higher end rods, is the
Dobbins
coolest thing
reels.
ever because you set it once and you never have to touch the spool tension ever again.
Dobbins makes reels?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
He might have
Dobbins
meant
makes
to say
reels.
rods. He might have said rods.
No, they check it. They make. I think they make reels too.
Dobbins makes reels?
That's
Oh,
crazy. Okay,
I
hold
did not
up.
know that.
Let's see. Dobbins. Let's see here. All casting real brand.
I know our buddy and Jim, Headwater's Jim's buddy.
Okay, so
Mike
all right, so
Bucca.
hold up. They have the Dobbins Maverick casting reel for
$100.
$99. If that doesn't go with what we're talking about tonight, I don't know what does. Great suggestion to whoever that is, even though I've never used it.
I've heard good things about that Spiro
Got
reel
blue one
too.
there, the picture's small.
I don't remember how much they run though.
I was trying to see how it matches up with the Fury rod because I'm like, man, that might be a sweet combo, but it looks like it's blue, right? Aesthetically,
I guess this two
Aesthetic
stars,
magic.
this 2 stars with 1 review under the Maverick spinning reel probably isn't super great for that, but
nobody knew they made reels till just
nobody
now.
even knew they made reels until 35 seconds ago, so
I
cool.
was saying, Mike Bucca has a Dobbins swim bait rod series or something, doesn't he?
Mike Bucca is with he has the Dobbins Bullshad series swim bait rod.
I might have to get me one of those, dude.
Yeah, there are some good values out there. I've heard good things about that new Spiro reel.
Brian, I'll read the one
$25.
review. I'll read the one review on the
Yeah, let's
on
read
the
review.
Dobbins spinning reel. Hold up. It worked for a couple months before I lost parts on it. It clicked for me through the reel. It clicked for me through. Oh, it clicked for me though when reeling in. When my spool was at the bottom and top of my reel when reeling it in. Okay, this guy doesn't even know how to type either. So that was annoying, and my rod would shake a lot from it. I think that it was my rod's problem, or what the fuck?
Well,
I
Dobbins
think
makes
it was
great
my
rods.
rod's problem or something else. Also, a lot of spinning reels aren't balanced a whole lot in the first place, so they all shake when reeling them in fast. I took it
So
apart
why
to
is he
see
talking about
why
the
it was shaking, and I ended up losing a spring and putting bite marks in the drive gear from trying to unscrew it from this nut that was stuck on it. I called Dobbins, and since I touched the reel, they won't take it and fix it. And there's no replacement parts available online. I would save your money for something else.
Phil said he was probably holding it upside down.
I mean, at
This is
that
probably
point-
somebody that really didn't even understand how to operate a screwdriver took this fucking reel apart.
So
Did
Th-
Little
that's
Brad
actually-
write this review?
the one good point that was made in there is the lack of availability of parts. And when you buy a cheaper reel, the replacement parts aren't readily available. So you can't just go to the manufacturer and order parts for it if something breaks. So to me that's another reason to get that higher. Spend a little bit more money on your reel. Because if something breaks, I don't just have to throw it away. I can get parts for it.
I think
Yeah.
The guy that brought him up, it was that Ricky, because he said he fishes them, and he never has a problem with them. But he's probably talking about the casting reel though.
Like I said, this thing has
That review
one.
before.
It's got
The
one
review is
review
always
that's a
the worst.
2-star review, so obviously it's going to tank its ratings.
But that's the spinning reel.
That's a spinning reel. It's not the casting reel. The casting reel doesn't have any ratings.
Well, just go ahead. What's up, Rod? Rob, what's up, Brian?
So we have Dobbins Fury. What is another good price point on a rod from a different brand that we can
Hey,
go
hey,
to?
Phil, can I go with you?
Take
dude?
Roy Bass X.
St. Croix Bass X. I'm sorry. The
Actually, I own a couple of those. They're pretty nice rods for the price point.
Dude, Headwater, dude, I had a 13 fishing Fate rod.
I know Jim Fallon's going to ICAST.
I'm trying to go with Phil if he can get me in. Hey, listen, I broke it just casting. I cast it and it broke. The rod,
I've had
What was
a
that?
couple of 13 fishing rods.
13
That
fishing.
I never had an issue with them.
That was the only bad experience I had with them. I had some other ones. I had one I actually gave to Dan, just because I didn't like the way it felt when Dan used to live here in Maryland. He liked them, and I was like, dude, if you want it, you can have this. I'm telling you, I go Dobbins Furies, Mach 2 reels, love the combo. It's good, $200 and some combo, and that's good enough
Rob's
for
the
me. Uh,
Rob's the king of budget.
yes,
The budget rods are real.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
I was
Like I said
I was
earlier,
going to bring out the PAL rod line. A lot of people do not talk about PAL rods.
good rods.
They're
Really good
great
rods.
rods. They're not at the starting price point though. They used to be at around 120, but about 8 years later, they are not so much anymore.
What are they? What's the Inferno now?
That doesn't exist.
No, they don't
Nope.
make that one.
It is
anymore?
now the PAL Endurance series. Wait, hang on a second.
G Loomis makes a rod for $160.
Yeah, it's now the PAL Endurance series.
Yeah, I see that. They have and then they have the Naked series.
Yep, Endurance and the
The
Naked
Endurance is
series.
150. I mean, that's still for a rod. That's still relatively entry level. I mean, when you
It's
look at-
relatively entry level, but I would put it in the mid grade category. I think when you have a $300 rod and reel combination, you're in that mid range at that point.
I mean, are you though? Because if I buy a top
For
of
what the
line
average
St. Croix,
person is going to buy, yes, I would think that you are.
if you buy a top of the line St. Croix and a top of the line Daiwa reel, I mean, you're looking at a $1,500 combo.
Yes.
Post
So,
Amazon link.
But
mid-grade,
there's
I would
but
say
there's
anything under
even
$300.
pros out there that don't throw those rod and reel combinations at $1,500.
I would.
But I would say that anything
Never.
under 300 is for the combo is probably in that mid grade range. think
I
300
don't
is
think that price in my mind doesn't. I mean, it does and it does not dictate beginner level to advanced or professional level, but I do have to say
Yeah,
that I think when you're throwing, I don't think most people that just learned about bass fishing and they just want to catch some bass in a pond have $300 rod combinations. I think that is more of somebody that is into bass fishing. They're learning about it. They are continuing to push the newfound passion that they have. So they're going up to the next level. That's the way that I look at it, moving from like a Walmart
Rob
combo.
Steiner, I was talking about Riverboat Rob being the
Oh, your Paul said to me, Rob, not you, Rob. Jordan Lee won heavy hitters on his rods that are $50. Dude, I won one of Jordan Lee's rods at Susquehanna Fishing Tackle in a raffle, and the damn snakehead broke it, dude. It wasn't bad. I liked the rod, but
So,
it got broke.
Jim, my most expensive combo right now, I'm running a Shimano. It's the Shimano Monster Drive DC. Shimano Conquest, not the Conquest. That's a freaking round spool. It's Shimano Monster Drive DC. Dude, I can't even remember what's up, Dave?
Hey, Chad, can we look up the Dobbins, the Mike Bucca rod? I'm just curious how much it is.
We can
I'm
check that out.
interested to get one, honestly.
What was I saying real quick though?
You said, what's up, Dave?
their most expensive combo.
The most expensive combo is a Shimano DC Monster Drive, and then I have it on a Mega Bass Destroyer Mark 48. So if you buy all those things brand new, I think you're probably around the $1,000 price point, if not over.
Hell no. Hell to the no.
That's more than. I mean,
The Mark 48 isn't made
tournament with
anymore,
Zillion,
but
so
That's
my
a
most
lot.
expensive combo.
It depends on what you're fishing and how much you're fishing, though. Like
Okay.
Paul fishes a lot more tournaments than we do. So
But still, like my most
is
expensive
a higher
combo is
end
$600.
combo.
yeah.
Like
That's
you're
my
a
swim
weekend
bait
guy.
combo. I throw paddle tails on that, and paddle tails only. Only mag drafts and citizens. That's it. That's all I throw on that rod.
See, for me, like if I'm gonna spend a lot more money on a bottom contact rod versus a moving bait rod,
Mhm.
because if I'm reeling a bait, you generally have line tension and you don't need quite as sensitive of a rod.
Yep.
Now reel makes a difference. I always recommend going with a higher quality
And
reel,
we're gonna go there next.
but with a rod, like if I'm throwing, say you're throwing like a spinner bait, I don't need a $500 rod to throw a spinner bait with because I'm always in contact with the bait. So I don't have you're not gonna have an issue feeling bites. So you can get away with a little less expensive. Like I still throw a pretty high quality rod. I mean, I throw a St. Croix Victory. It's a $210 rod, but I don't need a Legend Extreme to
Hey,
throw a spinner.
hey, Phil, thank you, man. I'm gonna hit you up later.
I'm sorry. It's
Okay.
the
Phil was setting
Antares.
me up.
It's the Antares DC Monster Drive.
The Antares. That's a bad reel. Bad.
It's a badass reel.
Uh,
So, but now that we're kind of talking, we talked about reels a little bit. We didn't quite go. I mean, we went deep into rods, but we covered the Dobyns Fury. I wanted to say, obviously, you guys can also check out. It was kind of honestly, the $50 to $100 price point is hard for me to reach because ever since I started fishing, I've always been at $120 plus on everything that I've bought. So that's just what I'm used to. But there is good stuff out there that I have used, like the Black Max. But we're kind of crossing over into. We talked about the Fury series. We talked about the iRod. We didn't talk about the iRod. The iRod Genesis 3. That's another great $150 rod. The Shimano Corrado is a decent rod.
Everybody I know that has bought a Corrado rod is broken.
So we go into the next tier.
And so now I think we need to get into reels a little bit. What are these good entry level reels that are worth pairing up with your entry level rod that are going to perform?
I said
before we move on to reels, Rob, the Mike Bucca Bullshad Series casting rod is 210.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No, it's
so
not.
What's the length on that, Paul?
8 foot.
8 foot.
8'3".
8 foot.
It's 8'3".
Yeah.
Ooh.
I might get me one. I think I'm gonna buy one.
I see. I thought about getting one, and it wasn't the 8'3" reason. I just never got one. But 8 foot, it's not going to fit in anybody's rod locker.
I don't have a rod locker. I just strap mine down to the deck.
Mine.
I don't have a swim bait rod. I eliminated my,
okay, so
rod
I don't.
locker.
I would literally, if I was you, I would just get a Dobyns Fury swim bait rod just to start out.
I would too.
Do they make a Fury swim bait rod?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
What length is that?
8 foot.
7'10".
8 foot.
That's what I'm gonna do. That.
7'10",
That's a good
7'11",
plan. Yeah, I like that.
It's my Dobyns Fury 8 foot rod. The one that I throw my 8-inch baits and shit on is an 8 foot bait.
Yeah,
and
8
then
foot heavy.
8 foot heavy. A little bigger than a flipping stick. Not much bigger, but a little bigger.
I got to be
3
honest with you though. If you're
or 2.5.
only going to throw 6-inch baits, it's overpowered.
I tell you, the swim bait I'm really looking forward to using, Chad, is the Chad.
So I'm throwing a KGB Chad on an iRod swim bait junior.
I threw mine on a Bass X 710 heavy.
Mine is a 7.8. Mine's a 7.8 heavy or some shit like that. I can't even remember. Hang on a second. Ooh, I just farted.
Oh,
What'd you say?
I'm glad I ain't there. Between Chad and the dog, you need a gas mask over that. Oh, boy.
A
lot of people have a lot of suggestions. But let me ask a question, dude. I have said it. I like the Lose Mach 2 reel. But if you were going to buy a budget reel, and the Black Max is probably the cheapest reel that you can get that's actually, I don't really want to say it's okay, but it's okay. But if you wanted to step it up to that let's say $150 range, what reel are you buying?
Tetsuo.
Yeah, I have it's a 7'8" medium heavy moderate fast.
I'm looking at 1 to 4 ounce.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a $150 rod.
Yeah,
And those eye rods are pretty decent rods.
they're great rods. I've honestly, and this is, I do not recommend this rod for throwing a Megabass Mag Draft or like a Citizen. I
Yeah.
used this for that purpose, and I also had good hookup ratio with it. I don't recommend it because it's got too much backbone for a single hook, but dude, solid rod, solid rod. I'll share it right here real quick.
You would
Actually,
think you would want a lot of backbone.
Dude, we're getting a lot of comments, a lot of
you
suggestions.
want a lot of backbone when you're throwing those big single hook rods. You want fast to an extra fast, heavy. You need to be able to drive. It's like driving a nail. You know what I'm saying? You need to be able to drive that thing home.
That's
Yeah.
a nice looking ride too.
Yeah, that's what
They
I'm
are
saying. Okay,
they
so
are pretty rods. They're actually done up pretty nicely.
Abu Garcia Pro Max has been decent for me, and it's $80.
I am not a foam grip guy. I really do like cork grips myself,
Me too.
but it gets the job done, no doubt about it.
I like cork. That's one of the reasons that I fish St. Croix. I hate foam and rubber handles.
We got to go through these comments, dude. 'cause I'm
I gotta
starting to
say,
get
Jim, the reason that
hella
I
comments.
didn't go any bigger was because my confidence level in swim baits lies more in the 6 to 7 inch range. It's not in that 8 to 10 inch range because of our forage around here. And that just kind of made me spend the money on the cheaper rod for the 1 to 4 ounce. I just thought it would throw my baits a little bit better, especially when KGB and Spro linked up. So I was just, and that bait actually might have gotten a little heavier. I can't remember. But yeah, I just kind of went with that because that is what I was comfortable with. And to this day, I'm honestly still not throwing 8 and 10 inch glide baits or like walking baits of that sort. 7 inch is kind of the biggest I'm throwing right now. I would really like to go up to a bigger size.
I think 7 inch. I think a 7 inch glide bait is that like perfect. 6 to 7 inches, like that perfect range where you're not going days at a time without a bite, but you're still getting a big bite. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Where when you're throwing that like 9 inch, you're looking for that one bite. Where like a 6 to 7 inch, you tend to get a few more bites throughout the day. I like that 6 to 7 inch range. It seems to be a little more versatile.
All right. Yeah, we do have a shitload of comments.
Yeah. I would like to
we
get
got-
a trick shad.
Scott says the Abu Garcia Pro Max has been decent for me. It's $80 for the reel. Greg,
I believe Chad has a trick shad.
Greg, forgive me, sir, if I pronounce your last name wrong. DeGabo, the Fluger President. I actually own a Fluger President. That's a nice rod, nice reel. It's a decent reel. I used it for trout fishing, and the Fish Eagle for spinning.
Huh.
Joe Mannion says the iRod Sniper Swim is legit. Was thinking about getting another one.
Brian Wasinski.
Steven, have a
says
good
he
night,
loves
brother.
St.
Thanks for
Croix-
joining in.
Says he loves St. Croix for years, but they seem to have quality issues lately. I have not broken a St. Croix rod that I didn't do something wrong. The intro video of me snapping one, I slacklined the crap out of that fish. I have one that's broken here right now that I missed a fish and I kind of smacked it against a dock piling, and like 3 weeks later it broke. But like it broke exactly where I hit it on the dock piling, so like I just damaged the plane. So I haven't really had any issues with quality. I did have one break when I was dragging a fish out of grass, but again, that was I can attribute all of my St. Croix rod breaks on me.
Dan said, did anybody try arc rods?
I have not.
I know. I think Kevin it just got a couple, and Tom Over definitely has a couple. And
I thought
and
they were
they
Halo
sort-
rods.
Oh, Tom might have the Halo rods.
It's the
I think
Halos.
Kevin has the arc. Kevin's got the arc. Tom has the Halo. You're right.
What's with the
But
arc rods? I'm not familiar. I don't know what they are.
they're good rods. That is, I believe, if he doesn't still, he used to, but now I
Jim.
can't.
Jim geeks me out. I love that he's just so willing to say whatever the fuck he feels like.
Halo made him throw up.
Everybody's like, yeah, Halo rods, and Jim Fallon's like, fuck those rods.
Randall Tharp used to fish, or he still does fish arc rods. I've heard good things from people that people that have bought. I haven't heard anything really bad out of them.
I think Dan was saying they have buy one get one right now, arc rods. So I mean,
Ooh,
you get
nice.
two rods for the price of one.
Oh, what was the other comment here? Oh yeah, also Jim, I do have a 6-inch trick shad. I just haven't thrown it a ton yet. I need to get some hook rush in that thing and possibly tune it a little bit. Let's see.
Corrado says the Corrado DC 150 XG and HG have been his favorite reel so far. I do not. I have a Corrado MGL and I do not like it.
I was a huge fan of the Corrado DC 150. I can't say I'm still not a fan of it, but I've had my share of after hard seasons. Now this isn't after like little to no use. This is after dragging my shit through the mud, weathered, being rode hard and put away wet. I've had some problems with some of my Shimanos. Actually, a lot of them being DCs. So I love them. They work great. I think they do have some durability issues. That is my personal opinion. And I've been throwing DCs for enough time now to have that opinion.
Dyson said he has a few Halo rods. He likes them.
I think, and that it might have something to do with whatever that electronic system is in the DC. Going back to more of a conventional 200 series or something like that might work better. But for me, I love the rods. They do great when everything's working good, but I've had some problems with them getting dirty. And I'm not saying I'm swapping straight over to Daiwa, but I do own Daiwa reels. I like them. I do think they're more durable, and I will heavily consider more Daiwa in the future when it comes time to get more reels.
I'm telling you, man.
Of all kinds. It doesn't matter whether it's I have a Daiwa 80, I have a 200, I have a Daiwa Lexa 300.
That zero adjust pull that's on the Tetula and the Zillion, the Steed is the greatest thing that's ever happened in a reel.
They're phenomenal.
Like, I mean, how many times have you switched baits on a reel and you had to play with the spool? Yeah, just play with the spool tension because you went from throwing a quarter-ounce Texas rig to a half-ounce Texas rig, and it takes you 10 minutes to get it dialed in right. You know what I mean? I hate that. That's my favorite thing about Daiwas.
Jim, do you hear this? I sent this to a shop and had it fixed, and it still came back doing the same exact noise, and I just shelved it.
Dude, I got like a serious delay. Like I see you say something and then it comes in later. Oh, I don't know. It seems to be working now though.
Are you falling asleep?
No.
You just answered that pretty quick.
I woke up for the show.
We were literally supposed to start the show at 7 o'clock, and
I was
Rob
sleeping.
falls asleep like 15 minutes before we're supposed to start. I mean, it didn't even matter because we had nothing more than freaking audio problems for the first hour trying to get this going.
I've been getting AC calls every night.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. Me too.
Dude, I get a lot where the AC's working. I go out there like,
They just don't understand.
yeah,
They don't get it.
yeah. Like,
But
man,
so,
it's
you
like
know,
15, 20 degrees below ambient temperature, it's working.
yes. We talked about the Abu Garcia Black Max kind of. We've went into more high range. What is that clicking noise?
That's what I was wondering. I hear it too. That's how I was just looking. was making sure it wasn't on my end.
I don't know. Is it on my end?
I don't know. Hang on.
I don't know. I think it's on mine because it seems
Let's
worse when
see.
I talk. Let me try to unplug this.
Yeah, it's definitely on Rob. Yeah.
Is it on Rob's end?
I don't know. I'm still hearing a little bit. Not as bad though. Scott says knock on wood, he hasn't any issues so far with any Shimano, but he's only been fishing with DC reels for about 3 years. I just like it. I've never fished one of the, so I just can't get past the noise.
I think it's coming from
I
your
think that's
camera,
wrong.
Paul. It might be
Maybe.
your charger.
It could be. My phone's about trying to die.
That's probably
about
what
now?
it is.
Nope, still doing it. I just unplugged it.
Oh, where'd Paul go?
I'm still here. No,
I don't see you.
do you hear me?
I can hear you.
No, something happened when I unplugged the charger. I cut my video off.
But yeah, we were talking about beginner reels, and so I started talking about the Black Max, and then I kind of wanted to get into some of the other beginner reels that are out there. As you know, you get deeper into stuff. You have some of the Lose. I know you're a big fan of the Lose Mach 2, right? Right, Rob? And the Lose Mach 2 is going for what?
129, I think.
Can Rob not speak? Roberto?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I can't hear Rob though.
Yeah, I
Rob
can't hear
also
Rob. Rob, we can't hear you. Rob?
That noise is getting annoying. I don't know what that is.
Rob? Damn it, Rob.
And Rob froze.
You're not frozen. We can't hear you.
He was froze for a second.
I can't see you anymore.
I don't know where I went.
It's got to be something with your phone. Nope, can't hear you, Rob. Love this. Absolutely hate technology.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you, Rob. There you go.
All right, cool. I don't hear the noise more either. Hey, somehow figured it out.
Lost Paul, though.
I see Paul.
Paul?
I
Can
can
you hear
see
me?
Paul and hear. I
Can hear you.
Paul.
Just can't see you.
I can see Paul.
Yeah, I don't know. I just rejoined. I don't know what's going on.
You can't see Paul at all because I can see him right there.
I can't see Paul. I can see him if I go to the other screen,
He's
but
got
I
like
can't.
a thumbs up thing next to his head, dude. Like the thumbs up thing. I swear to God, it's like a little bubble popped up with a thumbs up next to your head, dude. Yeah, I don't know. Are we still live?
Yeah, we're
Talking
still
about
live. Oh, God.
To get into your budget reels, I'll continue to say that I don't approve of buying budget reels.
I don't either.
It's the easiest way. It's the easiest way to get frustrated and stop throwing a bait casting.
I think I think you should splurge and you should spend at least $100 to $150 on your first baitcaster. And I know that's hard for people to kind of swallow, but you really will have a better experience.
I'm pretty sure my iPhone 15 is.
Yes.
Brought a better phone than the forward-facing sonar.
Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a phone junkie. So
You're an
You'll
Apple
never-
guy.
you'll never see me without the newest of the new.
You're an Apple guy or
I am an Apple guy.
Android. Mhm. You know, Android is a Linux-based OS, which I don't know. I prefer Android because it's Linux-based. I don't know if you're familiar with Linux.
Agree, Scott.
I am
Buy
familiar.
once, cry once. And once you buy once and you get over the crying, you'll go back and you'll buy again and then you'll cry again because it's freaking worth it.
But what do you? So
What
what
do
do
you
you
do when
actually?
step on it?
What do you use your phone for? That you need it to be Linux based.
I don't at all anymore. You know me, I barely text anybody back. I just supported Linux based because of the history of. I got into Android back in the day because I liked how Linux started, how it was like some of the people that worked at Apple, some of the people that worked at Microsoft got together, made a company. So I was just a fan of Linux. And then I used to use Ubuntu on my computer way back in the day when Linux put it out. So I just was always a fan of Linux. That's all. Just because of the history of it. But meanwhile, I barely use my phone. So, you know,
Yeah, it's
I'm not that guy that's on the phone all day. You guys know that. But my wife is an Apple. She switched over to Apple. She loves it. She's got the watch and the newest iPhone and all that. She loves it. Yeah, my wife too. But me, oh, yeah. Oh Lord, dude. She's got like the charging station for like the. You probably have it too. Like you put the whatever the ear ones are called, and the watch and the phone all sits on like a station together and all that crap. Yeah. I'm nowhere. I'm nowhere with that. Mm, right. Yeah.
but anyway, enough about phones.
Yeah. We're not here talking about phones. Then maybe they got a maybe Linux will start making fishing rods. I'll buy one.
Like
All
Jim
right.
said, he's had cheap gear and had a break while catching good fish, so he swore he'd never have cheap stuff again.
Yeah.
And
What
you know, it's
what would you consider a good entry level reel that's not cheap? I mean, I don't mean I'm not talking price wise. I mean a good made reel uh f- for someone that wants to step up to get a good reel.
The Daiwa Tatula 150,
And what's the price point on that?
180.
for the 100,
Really? Well, that's
I
not
thought
bad.
for the
the
Tatula?
100 or the 150.
Well, that's not bad.
No, the Tatula 100.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not the. They're both 180.
Would you
Either
consider
that
that?
or the SVTW.
Would you consider that a budget reel, or you consider that like stepping it up to the next level?
That to me, that's the lowest. Knowing what I know now, that's the lowest that I would recommend somebody buy.
Got you.
I mean,
Oh.
I don't know of a good
I think-
$150 reel.
I think that's more of a high to mid range for your average person. Obviously, we know that Paul is a little more on the bougie side of things when it comes to that, which I agree with.
Oh, I'm not, but I'm not. I mean, I don't spend. I mean, I have two Daiwa Zillions that I bought specifically for jerk baits to allow me to cast a little bit farther. Like I wanted them because if I'm throwing jerk baits, I'm throwing them on a shorter rod to get a little extra distance out of them. Other than that, I don't spend over $200 a reel.
Well, like I
Not
said,
much.
I like to lose Mach 2, and the price point on that's like 120, 130. So, and it's a good reel. Uh,
I just won't buy anything that doesn't have zero adjust spool tension anymore. Because I can take my 7-1 medium heavy legend tournament that has a SVTW on it and I can throw a weightless Senko, a 5-inch weightless Senko, cut that off, and put a half-ounce jig on it, and never have to adjust my reel.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, you can go to extremes and not have to adjust the reel at all.
The
So I
Lose
won't buy anything that doesn't have
Inshore
one.
is a nice reel. Not familiar with the Lose Inshore. Um, you familiar with that? I'm not. Oh no, I just used the Mach 2.
Jim, I hate my Corrado. I have one Corrado MGL, and I think it's a piece of crap.
I have different comments up here because
That's just my opinion. But again, I'm also used to I'm also used to Daiwas where I don't have to adjust the spool tension, and I've gotten so used to that it's if I pick up another reel, and I own other reels that I just haven't replaced yet, and I run into the same issue with those.
what's MGO?
The Shimano SLX is
What about
another.
the SLR?
The SLX is another pretty good reel, I would say,
Yeah,
for the price point.
Scotto is right though. That the Mocs do have that big the I don't know what you call it. It's not the paddle.
They
It's
got that round,
they got the round.
yeah, the
Yeah.
round reel handles. I
Mm.
don't like that at all.
I
Yeah,
fully
that's
agree with
one of the
Scott.
downfalls.
Scott says it's hard to recommend anything sub 100. They just cast and feel cheap with the cranking.
Hmm.
It just, I fully agree.
The gears wear out so easily.
Yeah, it's hard to make accurate casts. It's hard to do all of the above things uh, with a cheap reel. It's hard to do it.
It is. That's why I don't recommend anybody buy a cheap reel.
Don't buy a Black Max.
Like somebody said earlier, buy once, cry once.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry though. Say you're like 12-year-old kid getting into bass fishing. You know, you're not coming from a family with a lot of money. You know, your Black Max will work for you. You know,
You can
I don't
make
want to
anything
say
work.
don't buy. You know, like hey, if you ain't
Depending
got
on
the
your
money, not everybody has
depending
money for you know.
depending on your ability, anything can work for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
like, not everybody has. You got to take a 12-year-old kid that's, you know, maybe like a single mother raising him or something like that, and he wants to get into bass fishing. I mean, I would recommend a Black Max then. You know what I mean?
I would say Shimano SLX.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah.
SLX.
Much
While
better,
we
much better reel, $100.
Real quick, while we have a couple people watching, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, some East Coast IV. Big shout out to you guys. I bet you guys have been busy as shit the past couple weeks as it has been blisteringly hot here in the state of Maryland. If you guys are from out of the state, East Coast IV is a place that you can go and you can get an IV bag, banana bags, such and such to get yourself hydrated, get yourself ready for this hot weather. I gotta say, we've used them personally in my house 3 different times, and they do have a delivery service where they will come to you. If you're hungover, you're completely dehydrated, you're not feeling good, maybe you have a sporting event the next day and you're supposed to be in a heat index of 100 degrees plus, you can get in contact with East Coast IV, get your body all hydrated with all the good vitamins and minerals that you need, and get you feeling better for that really, really hot day. Shout out to East Coast IV for keeping people healthy and keeping them going in this really, really harsh weather. And then our friends with Mobile Auto Services and the Boat Pros. Mobile Auto Services and the Boat Pros is a service that comes to you. They are a mobile auto service and a mobile boat service, as it says right in the title. They'll come to your house during a busy day. You could be at work. Get your oil, get your lower changed, get your carburetors or whatever. If you're running an older motor cleaned, they'll do all the stuff that you need on your car too, as far as fuel cleaning, oil changes, tires, all that good stuff. They have it right on the truck that they'll bring to you. So give them a shout and don't worry about taking your vehicle to a busy body shop or a busy automotive shop. Let them come to you. And that's it. That's it for the sponsors for tonight for the East Coast IV and Mobile Auto Services.
Headwaters Jim made a really good comment, and he said his best advice is get what you can afford until you can get better. You'll catch fish no matter what, and that's
Yep.
probably the best advice. If you have the money, buy something a little better, but buy what gets you out there and gets you fishing. We don't. I mean, I didn't have a brand new boat when I started. I bought what I could afford, right?
Yep.
So buy what you can afford and have fun with it.
Where'd Rob go?
I don't know. All right, well, I gotta jump off here. So, have a good night, everyone. I know you can't see me waving goodbye, but
I'll wait
I
for
will
Paul.
See you guys.
Paul
on Friday.
says bye. And I'm going to end the stream right behind Paul, and I will catch you guys later. Thanks for joining us tonight. We got slightly off topic, and we are going to come back to it this Friday for some more shenanigans. Love you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Catch you guys later.